Welcome everybody to another video here on Dota Alchemy, and we are going to be doing a quick rundown of patch 7.26b, which has been introduced today. And the changes are trending in the same direction that everything else has so far, which is that they are kind of pulling back on the power creep in the game and nerfing a bunch of the gold and just the general power level of everything. I'm not entirely sure, I'm going to be honest, about the direction that they're pushing the game. They obviously want to slow things down, but they're actually just speeding things up because it's much harder to come back in the game, because once you're ahead, all of the gold sources, all of like the ways that you could come back into the game, you know, kill bounty, that kind of thing, have been reduced for several patches in a row. So maybe they're actually trying to speed up the game. Who knows? But right now, it feels like everything is very stompy, extremely determined by the laning stage, and that means that Dota is it's very fast-paced, and if you're not abusing that, then you're probably being abused by the pace of the game. So let's get into the changes here. General changes: denies no longer give gold. So what this says to me is that pulling has never been more important than it is right now, because why not just deny them to creeps since they don't actually give you gold? It's kind of just like a waste of time almost to go for denies. Much less value in that. And right here, deny experience given to enemies has been increased by 10%. So if you're pulling, that's an additional 10% XP that you're taking away from heroes now. So pulling is just better and better and better. Melee creep base bounty, this is a pretty big deal, has been increased by 5. So each wave has 15 extra gold in it now. Melee creeps are now a bit more in line with range creeps. Range creeps are still slightly more valuable for gold, and I believe it's like 15 experience more or something like that. So again, pulling even more valuable, 15 extra gold that you're taking away from the other team every time you pull a wave and deny the whole thing to neutral creeps. Speaking of neutral creeps, base bounty values have been increased back to 10%. So the last patch, they took away 10% value from neutral creeps, but now they're 10% more important in terms of their gold. So jungling a little bit better. So carries that want to go to the jungle might be a bit stronger. Stacking definitely better. And once again, if you are a support and you're pulling and you're also farming the camps that you are using to pull the creep waves, you get 10% extra gold. So pull is the theme of this patch, in my opinion. All talents are now 20% weaker. So basically, we were just going through the hero guides. Definitely pay attention to this, because some talents just seem like they are so irrelevant in terms of the numbers that they give. There's like 6 strength at level 10. I think there was even one that was like 4 strength at level 10, because they've just nerfed these talents so much, and now they're 20% nerfing them again. A lot of the talents look really bad, and I would even consider not taking a talent at level 10 for several heroes and just going for extra levels in your regular skills. So yeah, I'll be updating the talent choices on the hero guides here after this video. But definitely pay attention to this. Towers now grant 1 HP regen aura for tier 1 towers, interesting, and 3 for tier 2, 3, and 4. So again, trying to like slow or make defense of these towers easier and better for the team defending them. 3 HP regen is not a ton in the late game, but it can. If like a fight is dragging out around a tower, it could impact things. This is very interesting, especially if you have a hero like Chen or something. I feel like Chen is just even better if you have like the regen amp. Io probably could be extremely broken in the safe lane because of this. Just keep your carry alive forever. Again, pulling extremely important. Whoever is playing in their tower range has a massive advantage during the lanes. So make sure that you are controlling the creep wave equilibrium. And also, one other thing is that, I mean, I guess it's fairly irrelevant, but it'll just help push the lane even faster if you are in tower range with your creeps. So, I don't know. Experience required to reach level 9 through 13 has been increased. It's been increased by 110, 112, 110, 120, 130, 140, and 150. So just, it's harder to get past level 8 at this point than it was in the past. So again, kind of like slowing down this snowball of these heroes in that sort of mid-game portion when lanes are breaking down, heroes are moving around, kills are going out. People will be not quite as accelerated during this little mid-game portion. Reliable gold is now given only for passive income, which is kind of an interesting change. I assume also Midas and Bounty Hunter track, because I believe those specifically say they are reliable in like the tooltips of the spells. But this means that you will lose a lot more gold for dying because, you know, getting gold from tower kills, getting gold from any other sources, kills of heroes and stuff like that will also be lost. So make sure that you're shift queuing your items, because if you're not doing that and you're not buying your items like periodically as you gain gold, you're going to be losing a lot more gold. So definitely make sure that you are on top of like your item decisions and buying stuff before you die, if you are going to die. AoE gold has been increased. So this is like hero kill bounty to people that are around has been increased by 0.006. I'm not entirely sure like how relevant that is. Probably just a little bit of trying to compensate for the amount of gold that you are losing throughout the game. I don't feel like this is going to be that big of a change. Neutral item drop times. This is a little bit of an interesting change. Has been changed. I mean, the numbers were pretty random, right? 7, 15, 25, 40. Like, none of this really made sense in terms of the scaling. So now it's just starting at 7 and then every 10 minutes after that. So 3 minutes earlier at level tier 4 items. And then from tier 4 to tier 5, what's tier 5? Is it 50? 50 minutes? 60 minutes? So there's a big gap between the tier 4 and tier 5 items, which is interesting. I feel like you will... I don't know. 2 minutes later, it makes it a little bit more like easy to track. Every 10 minutes, you have to go for the items after 7 minutes instead of 8 minutes and then 10 minutes and then 15 minutes. So I don't know. I feel like this will probably be pretty irrelevant in terms of, although tier 4 items 3 minutes earlier is a pretty big power spike potentially. Tier 2 towers health has been increased by 500 and damage by 25. So tier 2's much harder to take. And that's kind of an interesting change because I feel like tier 2's were already kind of pointless to take. Like if you look at the map control that they give you, I mean, we can just look at a map here. This gives you no more access to your neutral camps, pretty much. Like none of the tier 2s really protect neutral camps except for like one, maybe a little bit in terms of this camp over here. I don't know. It doesn't really seem worth it to go for tier 2s, especially early in the game when they are very easy to defend. They give, you know, less bounty than ever before. They have all these extra stats that they give the heroes that are defending them now. So I guess there's a bit more incentive to just take the tier 1s, take over the jungle, and then just kind of hold and get net worth advantage. But again, you know, we'll see, because if you are snowballing out of the laning stage, then it's very hard to come back from that. So you might as well just continue to push the pace. I will be curious to see how much more difficult it feels to take these towers based off of this. So remember, 25 damage is applied to all the split shot too. So the glyph on these is way more impactful. And I will say that the damage from tier 2s already felt pretty high. So an additional 25. I mean, you definitely are going to be punished for diving if you're diving very early in the laning stage or mid game. Item changes. Healing style duration has been increased by 2 seconds. So it's just less of a burst. Gives you the same health overall. Still a very, very good item. But you will have to, you know, dip into the trees a little bit more and try to avoid getting it canceled, because otherwise it's going to give you a lot less value. Gloves of Haste has been increased by 50 gold in terms of its cost. It was definitely overly buffed in terms of the cost, and so now they're trying to normalize it a little bit more, make treads not quite as important. But at the same time, they also nerfed Blades of Attack by making it 20 gold more expensive. So these obviously affect power treads and, you know, Midas as well. Talk about a dead item. And phase boots. Ring of Basilius recipe cost has been increased by 25 to make it more in line with the other ore items. This was definitely one of the cheaper ones at this point. I still think that let's see, Buckler's 375, Basilius 425, Headdress 425. So Buckler definitely was already the best of the three kind of aura items in the lane. I think it's even more so at this point. Hood of Defiance now is a 200 gold recipe. This item was way too valuable, and so they are just going to be nerfing that one to try and bring it a little bit more in line with the other items. Still, man, I feel like Vanguard is just going up and up and up in value because of the fact that it just hasn't really been nerfed, right? They took away the 200 gold recipe. You can see it in the patch notes there in 725. Now this one has a 200 gold recipe. So it's still a little bit cheaper than Vanguard, but now I guess they're trying to make the choice between Blade Mail, Vanguard, and Hood of Defiance in terms of which defensive item do you pick up at this price point. Vanguard seems very good for the value. Hood is still definitely a very good item, and Blade Mail is obviously still very good too. So kind of depending on the game for those. Anyway, that is the end of 726B. I think that it's just more trending in the direction of Valve trying to slow the game down, trying to kind of uncreep the power creep that has happened over the last like 2.5 years in Dota. I don't really feel like most of this will change the heroes that are popular. We could see a bit more, you know, jungle farming heroes being popular, but until the meta shifts away from this just like run at you early game and there is no way to come back if you lose the laning stage, then we will still continue to see these very up-tempo heroes being played. Ursa, Gyrocopter, Leshrac, Pugna, you know, beat your face in during the lanes and then end the game at 25 minutes. That's the meta right now, and until we see anything different from the pros or pubs, that's what it's going to stay. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think in the comment section below about this patch, and we'll see you in another video very, very soon.